want this presentation be alive, more than. And in order you understood at least part of what I'm trying to do, I suggest begin with some warming up your mind and consciousness. Just repeat what I'm doing. My talk will begin with a kind of reflection of this conference. We were here already for several days and so much information coming in, so sometimes I feel overwhelmed. How about you? I hope мы вместе, we are together, maybe как-то эту информацию уложим.
Somehow pack this information.
Somehow pack this information with my help. Но начну я, I will begin with the beginning, with a classical approach. So, the science is mainly began as a classical approach. What is classical approach? It means that we have the main separation between me, I, subject, и все остальное. Anything else. You remember even Descartes said that I'm thinking, therefore I am. So first I am, and then there is everything else. Мир. Все остальное. The world. So it makes subject or researchers trying to research the world and get some information from the world. But the world is independent, so we totally separated. I am as a subject totally separated from the world. And this led me to make my research. Otherwise it would be difficult to make any research if we are independent. And science make a big success. You know, probably each of you knows that the science make a big success in this. But what's happened next? The science became to come to some borders of this separation. Like we are here on this conference, always speaking about gap. So this gap between me and you is almost impossible to overcome, because we are by definition we are separated, like me and all the world. Я и мир. We are separated by definition. So what's happening here is a lot of explanations coming with an attempt to make this, как бы это сказать-то так, объединение, uniting between me and the world. Почти все лекции посвящены этому.
Almost all lectures were about something like this, how to unite me and the world.
Да, почти все лекции придумывают новые объяснения.
Almost all speakers try to invent new explanations.
Мы знаем, в квантовой механике очень много интерпретаций.
We know that a lot of interpretations in quantum mechanics only.
И каждая интерпретация пытается найти, в чем же суть этого мира, как же нам с этим миром объединиться.
And each interpretation is trying to find what's the real essence of this world and how we can unite with this world.
Not even unite, how we can overcome the gap, to create a new explanation, better explanation, to unite gravity with quantum mechanics, to unite gravity with the consciousness in order to get to the core of this world. And what's happening? Количество объяснений все увеличивается, 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 а гэп там, где был, там и есть.
So the amount of explanation is increasingly growing, but gap is still at the same place.
И для того, чтобы обозначить этот слой,
In order to identify this level,
this one is classical, this one I will call non-classical. But this is not only me, so it's a kind of already famous in a science, in philosophy, non-classical approach, non-classical philosophy. It also called postmodernistic worldview, where is a lot of different narratives which is trying to describe the world, but no more narrative could not still overcome this gap. Let's try to think what could be the next. How can this gap could be overcome? Как мы можем преодолеть это разделение между субъектом и объектом? В принципе. In principle, how can we unite? How can we overcome this gap?
An emergent phenomenon, so that you have a change as complexity emerges and you can't predict from the reductionist parts that you start with what you end up with.
Ну, я согласна, что это должно быть что-то, где miracle happens.
Нет, не по-русски.
I agree. That should be something where miracles happen.
Kind of ambiguity, unpredictability. This is what you're meaning.
No, I do not.
So you are trying to rationalize all the worldview.
I'm talking about emergent phenomenon. It's a
Okay.
relative degree of
Right,
organization.
but this is a new explanation, isn't it? You create new notion like complexity, okay? Complexity, emergency, emergentness, and so far we put more and more different type of notions and say, oh, these notions will save us. It will explain everything. Then something happened. This is not explaining everything. Any other ideas?
No, in my view, anything that is putting responsibility for changes outside of yourself is not going to work. So if you want to change something or for something to be different, you have to change and understand and learn, and it's an integral internal process for me.
I almost agree.
Almost.
Almost. Да. Что без того, чтобы внимание направить на себя, in order to move attention from the outside world to inside world, it could not be, this gap could not be overcome. So we need, even I'm mistaken when I say we, because on this level, I am, according even your words, should take responsibility of myself. So far, the next level will be when I присваиваю свое восприятие, весь мир. I put my attention on myself and became to integrate world through myself. So I'm changing the direction from trying to research the universe, from trying to make a new explanation to the process of integrating the world. Я это обозначила таким вот символом интеграл. I am. So this is just my symbolic explanation of what could it be. So it's a process. It's not subject or object, and it's a process when I integrate the world through me, through the experience. Начиная с точки, заканчивая всей бесконечностью мира. So the world, I'm trying to do it from the point, from the beginning point till the whole infinity. My dissertation, PhD dissertation, was devoted to the infinity question. And there is an idea in mathematics of actual infinity, which could be applied here. There is two notions on infinity. One is infinity goes somewhere which is never can be reached. And another, that something, it could be infinite, but still could be actual. This is called actual infinity. So far, this is the process of actualizing infinity through myself. And this could be called a post-non-classical view. So это принципиально новый взгляд.
This is a new, completely new view in principle.
No, there is, it's very, it reminds me of Emmanuel Levinas, who does the same thing for the other, meaning he reaches the infinity, he integrates infinity into, and reaches some kind of, it's a very strange system, but he does it through the other. Because you also have to put the other into
Martin
integral.
Buber?
No, Emmanuel Levinas.
Emmanuel Levinas? I don't know Emmanuel
And he
Levinas.
talks about the fact that the other harbors an infinite temporality, infinite time inside the other, and then and in a way it's completely post-phenomenology.
Yes, it is. Because paradoxically, I'm trying to create a new explanation. So kind of that I'm still one step in this postmodernistic, but I'm trying to say that this is a last explanation. If you are trying to integrate the world, it's no more explanation needed. You can just do it by yourself in each action and through the experience, because experience, it's a way how to integrate something. Understand?
To a degree.
It's the difference between theory and practice.
That
When you have practice, your understanding of that theory increases tenfold, I don't know.
and it's became from knowledge to the understanding,
Yeah.
and from understanding to wisdom when it's integrated.
Yeah, if the interpretation of the experiences is more accurate.
That interpretation, it's a previous level. So from this point of view, the interpretations is secondary. So they are not important, and they could be absolutely different. What I was trying to say you in your talk. So one interpretation with past life, it's just one of possible interpretation.
Sure.
And I can change interpretation. I can choose the correct interpretation just for here and now,
But it's your
and change it in another moment.
Yeah, exactly. I was just saying that my interpretation, or your interpretation, anyone's interpretation,
That
could have problems, and so we should recheck our interpretation.
but even that is our interpretation, that we
Sure.
should change the interpretation.
Okay.
So ideally, I am trying to always be above the interpretation, above the attachment to interpret.
And to interpret better, you have
That.
an overview. You have an overview, so
That.
you see it more clearly.
Like a flying above the interpretation
Got it.
and above the objective reality. This is a different way of life, which I'm trying to invite you to. Any other questions, ideas, comments? Critique?
No, I like this. There's a model from projective geometry. So you know how the unit circle maps onto the infinite line. So it reminds me a little bit of this. You can do this projection where every point on the unit circle maps into one point And the whole infinite line maps into one tiny circle.
Да? Atman, есть Brahman, the same. Да?
This is in geometry. You can prove it.
Да?
No, but if the continuum is true.
This is also interpretation, you see. It's one of interpretation. We can prove it through geometry or through quantum physics also, through complexity, emergency.
So what do you think about the continuum? The continuum in mathematics.
I like mathematics, I like infinity, so for integral here makes a continuum. You see, as usually integral we're integrating бесконечно малые,
Extremely small.
internally small. I don't know the mathematical term in
Infinitesimal.
in order to get the wholeness. So each moment could be fully integrated if we are kind of here and now.
So it's
Да.
Just maybe a bit cynical or ironic comments, since you've invited comments. This is an I generation time right now.
Maybe.
Whenever you publish or have anybody translate that, I would recommend you play on that, because that's going to get you a lot of attention. Do you understand the concept of I generation?
I might think that I understand, but this is just what I'm saying. So classical epoch, classical generation is almost ушел в прошлое. It's a past. We are living in postmodernistic society when even death could not be, like from today's lecture, could not be defined, could not be objective. You know, we even lost death as objective reality. It's a definition which is accepted by U.S. government. You know, the Russian government probably has another definition of the death. So we're living in postmodernistic society, and I'm inviting you for the next one. So our generation, of course, our generation.
we get tickets.
Да. Yes. Да, ticket тебе. Any other ones? A ticket. Спасибо. So thank you very much. I'm living right now, and I want to invite you to Russia, where we are planning to do the Conscious conference in several years. And also we have a place in Northern California which is called Russian House. I will put some cards here.